how important, and you and I have talked about it before, I just think not having a true quarterback coach, I mean, you could see the deterioration of what he was doing fundamentally. And I'm not by any means somebody that's trained to do that, but there was nobody that he could go to that could correct it. How important do you think it is to have a guy like Alex Van Pelt, who has worked with Aaron Rodgers, he's worked with Andy Dalton, granted, whatever you think of him, he's a guy that had some really good years under Alex Van Pelt.
I think it's huge. I mean, I think, I'm very wound up about Ohio State's quarterbacks coaching situation because I just think it's so important. And I think you can take for granted when your quarterback has talent. I think sometimes it can be like, well, what's the big deal? Like, the guy knows what to do. Baker had a good rookie year. He knew what to do. Justin Fields at Ohio State, he had a good year. He knows what to do. I think sometimes when you are a young quarterback who does have talent, that's when you need to be coached the most. You want to be coached hard because you want to go from good to great. You don't want to settle. You're smart, you're curious, you're committed. You have a million questions. You want to know every detail and every nuance. So if Alex Van Pelt is in there, I'm imagining that Baker Mayfield said, like, okay, you did this with Rodgers. What did you talk about? What did he think? When he saw this coverage, what did he do? How did he adjust? Great. So important. It helped keep an eager, high potential quarterback engaged. And I think when you had a quarterback last year, a quarterback's coach Ryan Lindley, who just had not done it, who just was young and can't interact with Baker in that way. And I think we can all fall in the traps of thinking that, like, the head coach, if he has some experience with quarterbacks, is going to be in there coaching the quarterback. He's got a whole team to run. Somebody's in that room with your quarterback every day. I think Baker Mayfield, it's not because he's bad that he needs a great quarterbacks coach. It's because he's good and he wants to be great. I think it's one of the most important things that's happened this offseason. And I think they would have fixed it if Freddie would have stayed. They would have had to fix it because you saw, I think, Baker lacked that. And you can't have your old backup quarterback be your pseudo quarterback coach. It's too important. You can't let Drew Stanton be the guy in charge of telling Baker Mayfield how to be a pro. And Case Keenum, it's great. Love it. He's not his coach. And Alex Van Pelt's his coach. I think it's huge.
Well, and the other thing is there has to be somebody that Baker can go, somebody has to be watching. It's another set of eyes. I'm seeing this. You're not doing this like you did, earlier in the year. And again, I get the sense he really does want to be coached hard. Do you get that sense as well, being Baker Mayfield?
Yeah. I mean, he's said it enough times. It's his whole ethos. It's what he's been since he started his career as a walk-on and had to transfer. And there are some guys, I think you can be a guy who has a belief in yourself to the extent that's like, I know better than everybody. Like, I don't really know. I don't care what you think. I've got this. That's how I operate. But I think Baker thinks, I know what I'm doing, but I want to know more. So, yeah, I think he's a guy with internal belief who absolutely wants external opinions and advice. And I think Baker will get a lot out of Alex Van Pelt, but I would imagine Alex Van Pelt is going to get a lot out of Baker Mayfield, because doesn't it sound fun to coach a guy like that? A guy who has achieved, a guy who does have raw talent, but a guy who is still early in his process of really learning what it is to be an NFL quarterback. I think Baker Mayfield is right at the point where it would be awesome to coach a guy like that, and I'm hoping this is a great partnership between those two guys.